Star 6, you can proceed. Jessica Wheeler.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I called and I spoke a couple weeks ago, and then after I listened to the rest of the callers, I was concerned and I have some questions about BARC. In 2017, there were 6 puppies that were dumped by a local park. They came out of the shrubs while I was walking my dogs. There was no way I could leave them there, and I also could not keep them. So I picked them up, and then I took them to BARC on Tuesday. It was very easy.
Did you say 2017? I'm just wondering, you said 2017?
Yes, this was in 2017.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure when BARC started doing appointments. I don't know if it was during the pandemic or if it was before that, but turning in dogs, you have to set an appointment to turn in a dog. Last year, there were 2 other puppies that were dumped. I called BARC to report it, and then a couple days later, I followed up because they were still there. The lady who I spoke to on 311, she said that I could bring them in, but I had to make an appointment. And that was pretty much ridiculous because there were 2 puppies, and the current system that they have makes it very difficult, mostly because it is 1 appointment per animal, but you also get kicked out of the system pretty quickly. So, number one, BARC does not have enough staff to pick up strays. My question is, when will they stop having appointments? But then also in 2019, the ability to report stray dogs was taken off of the 311 app. I would like to know why. Having it on the app allows you to also include a picture and makes it much easier to report. And then my last comment is about 2 weeks ago when Councilmember Travis mentioned that there are few policies and procedures in place for when an outbreak does happen. And Mr. Damianoff has been the director for 10 years. So that just astounded me. I can't believe that this is true, but, and he also mentioned that there's only one area for intake. So I have 4 questions. 1, when will appointments for turning in animals end? 2, why was the ability to report stray dogs removed from the 311 app? 3, when will better policies be established, and are improvements for intake and quarantining in the works? And then my last question is, are all animals chipped before leaving BARC?
I don't have the answers to all of your questions, but we'll certainly have someone to reach out to you. The appointment process started during COVID-19 when we had to reduce the number of volunteers and staff, but that was during COVID-19. And as we move past COVID-19, in fact, we're already turning to a more open system. The only time we are now restricting bringing in animals is when we're dealing, for example, like now with the distemper outbreak, and we don't want to bring in animals and then infect all of the hundreds of animals that we currently have. We do have policies and procedure in place, and we're abiding by those policies even now when we're dealing with the distemper outbreak. So we do have policies and procedure. Why it is not on the app, I don't have the answer to you on that one, but I will make sure that we get the answer, and I will have someone personally reach out to you. If you'll hold for 1 second, Councilmember Alcoy.
Thank you, Mayor. And you addressed my concern about the app. And it might be that our new 311 system, maybe something is not up yet, but that's definitely something that's needed. I know. Thank you, Speaker, for bringing that to our attention. We do need to be able to report stray dogs on the 311 app. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Okay, but I will have someone reach out to you. Councilmember Travis.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Ms. Wheeler, thank you for calling in today. I just got off the phone about I guess it's about an hour ago, with Nikki Cooper, who's the Assistant Director of BARC, and we were talking just about some of the subject matters you brought up. In fact, she's talking about that they're updating their policies and procedures manual. She's in the process of doing that. She's got a lot on her plate. She's doing a good job, and I will tell you, I'm very impressed with her as our assistant director. A lot of stuff that's been sitting around for a while is now being addressed. So many of your concerns are being addressed right now. They did have some policies, procedures, but as she says, they're updating them and improving them. And she's working with Best Friends. I know they're working with that organization and several others. So I'm seeing improvement in BARC. Obviously, for those of us who are animal lovers, it's always never fast enough. But I do know that she's on top of it, and she's got a lot on her plate.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you. Okay. Next speaker.
Tasha Cole.
Tasha Cole. If you'll press *6. Tasha Cole. Tasha Cole, *6.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilor, and everyone. My name is Tasha Cole. I live at 8519 Discus in Humble, Texas. I'm a volunteer for several rescue groups that work with BARC. I've also networked dogs on BARC's euthanasia list intensively. I must say I am in complete agreement with Councilman Travis said in the June 29th meeting. Councilman Travis, your assessment of BARC being leadershipless is spot on. Without the leadership, this $13 million operation with 22,000 animals a year and servicing over 2 million people is not run adequately because there is no real policy and procedures. One can also assume there is no regular and ongoing staff training as well. Councilman Travis, when you said the recent distemper scare and outbreak brought the truth to the surface, you were absolutely correct. I want to share Boone's story here with everyone. Boone was one of the 7 labs that was identified as the source of the distemper outbreak. You may not know that Boone was found by a volunteer in his kennel exhibiting symptoms. It was obvious he was grasping for air and struggling to breathe. Apparently, BARC employees did not know about it. They only found out when a caring volunteer alerted them and took the dog to an outside emergency vet. The thousands of dollars volunteers paid out of their pockets was one thing. Losing the dog was traumatic to all of us. The worst was BARC not identifying the highly contagious disease in time to contain and having to close the entire shelter down. There were several other examples of inconsistencies after Boone. Due to the lack of proper procedures and neglect, BARC cannot at this point get ahead of the issues. Reactionary steps are not good enough. The problems will continue. That is a guarantee. My suggestion to all of you today is please take a hard look into the issues and do not keep celebrating the 96% live rate, even though it's deserving. Please also scrutinize the euthanasia list and find out why BARC is not saving certain groups of dogs. Until you understand the root cause of the problems and properly implement those programs to save those particular dogs, the unnecessary killing will continue. Please do not ignore the issues that can be absolutely avoided. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. But let me quickly respond, and I appreciate you volunteering from Humble, Texas, with respect to BARC itself. But let me just say, I don't know when the case with Boone occurred, but I do know in the most recent examples, those dogs, the distemper was caught early. They were isolated from the rest of the animals at BARC in both last 2 distemper cases. And I do want to applaud the staff for doing an excellent job at BARC in doing that. They did reach out immediately to experts area and implemented isolate. If I don't know who's that, if you could please mute your phone. Yes, thank you. And so they kept the rest of the population from being impacted. So I do want to applaud the staff at BARC. They are very dedicated. Veterinarians over there are very dedicated to these animals, and they're working very, very hard. So yes, there is a 95% live release rate over there, which is high, and that is important to note. Then with respect to the app that was just asked by the previous speaker, I do want that person to know, Ms. Wheeler, that the 311 system was upgraded, and we are waiting for approval from Apple and Google to launch the 311 app, and stray dogs will be there at that time. Councilmember Travis.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to, Ms. Cole, I want to thank you for participating today and coming and speaking before us. Your concerns are our concerns, and they're most definitely my concerns. And I really appreciate your valuable perspective and insight on this. So thank you.
Okay. Next speaker.
Thank you. I do want to let y'all know that Coco was just declared positive. So no, the outbreak at BARC is not contained.
Well, the situation is they are testing all of the animals over there, and they're working very hard to make sure that this distemper does not spread throughout the rest of the animal population. And they have done an excellent job in doing their very best to isolate and contain the distemper outbreak. And those that distemper was from dogs stray dogs that came into BARC's care. As you know, BARC does not turn away anybody. We accept all animals, regardless.
Yes, sir, I do realize that. But also, why was Boone down?
Nope, 1 second. I let you speak. Now let me speak now. Okay,
Yes,
we're going to respect one another. But BARC,
yes,
BARC accepts all animals, regardless of their condition. And I do want to acknowledge the staff and the employees over there, because I know what they did the entire 2020 when we were facing the coronavirus scare, and how they continue to work there to take care of the animals that were there. So I know oftentimes, they take a whole lot of abuse, but I also recognize, but for them, there are literally thousands of animals who will not be attended to. So we'll always work to do better, but I certainly want to acknowledge their hard work every single day. Okay? Councilmember Travis.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Travis.
Ms. Cole, I'm going to let you finish, but I want to say something real quick and follow up with what the mayor was saying. Again, just having talked with the Assistant Director, Nikki Cooper, about an hour ago, one of the things she brought up when we talked about the distemper issue.
Boone? Boone? Mm-hmm.
Who's talking?
That's her. I'm Tasha.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Cole. So with this distemper issue, apparently the distemper issue that happened about 4 weeks ago, apparently there wasn't an issue there. There was a distemper scare, and they had to take proper precautions. This one, actually, they do have some dogs that are infected, and they have them on a color-coded system, which is how they're able to segregate these animals to make sure that they have the healthy ones that are, I guess, they're color-coded green, and they're okay up for adoption. And then you've got the red code, which means these dogs have been shown to be. But one of the things that came up in our conversation was that we have to, and in fact, everybody in Texas sends out all these tests over to San Diego. The company that does all of our testings over there aren't any companies in Texas that does this, which Assistant Director Cooper and I talked about figuring out how we can get somebody here to do it, because that's taken a number of these tests 5 to 6 days for them to be processed because of the time to fly over there and to get them tested to get the results back, which means that a lot of the animals that might be green are being in a yellow code, and that causes some concern. And we're still waiting on 30 animals to be tested for distemper, which keeps us as a shelter shut down for a while, because we can't open it back up if we still think these animals are infected. But anyway, I wanted to let you know that there is a color code system. They're working on it, and there may be a better way of doing it, but so far it seems to be the best we can do at this point. And Ms. Cole, I'm going to let you have the last word.
Yes, sir. I just want to reemphasize Boone, because it was after the distemper scare, and he was the first positive case of distemper, and literally no BARC employee found him, he was found by a volunteer. And as much as I appreciate everyone that works at BARC, also kudos need to be given to the volunteers that go in and temp test these dogs. My group, Hash, that works the euthanasia list every single day except for Sunday because there is no list. He was found in his cage. He couldn't raise his head. And Councilman, I would love to send you the video of Boone, because why wasn't he noticed? Because maybe if he had been noticed, we wouldn't have the animals coming up positive now. And also, I would like to address San Diego and Deegan. By the BARC vet, they were quote unquote dying. A volunteer rushes to BARC to get them to Abbott vet clinic, and when they got there, they're perfectly fine. So thousands of dollars of volunteers' money is being spent because the symptoms or what is being said is not quite the truth. And now Coco has come up positive, and it's just a very sad state of affairs. And I beg every council member and mayor to take this seriously and fix the problem.
Well, ma'am, we are taking it very seriously. I do appreciate your call, but we'll take it seriously. We love our animals, and we are doing everything within our financial means and even beyond to take care of our animals. And again, I appreciate the staff. We love our people in the city. And so whether they're homeless, we want to make sure that we're laser focused on them as well. So we value our animals and we value our people, and we work collectively to address those concerns. And again, I don't want to disparage the city staff over at BARC, because they do a commendable job. And I certainly appreciate the volunteers. But like in the organization, it's everybody working together to meet the needs. Instead of trying to find fault, we all want to do our very best to make sure that we take care of our animals and the people in the city of Houston. And so I really appreciate you volunteering, and I hope you will continue to volunteer. Okay? Thank you so very much. Okay, next speaker.
Thank you.
Deucen Vrabel.
Tina Paz reached out and let me know that Boone, the dog that was subject, I think, of Miss Cole's call. Hello. That Boone was in isolation when the volunteer saw him. He was under review and observation already. So that's from Tina Paz. Okay. Does that